I want to play you a bit from GB News, if you will indulge me. This is from the launch of Robert Jenrick's campaign. There's an interview here with Esther McVey. It looks as if they're barely managing to get the interview in before all the scenery and all the paraphernalia of the launch is cleared away. You can actually see somebody clearing stuff away in the background, and you can see, if you look to the far right, you can see a box of rubbish. And I mean, it's not a good image, in contrast to the slick presentation that Jenrick clearly has got. But it's always nice to peek behind the curtain, isn't it? Don't look at the man behind the curtain.
Now, in the last hour, former Immigration Minister Robert Jenrick has officially launched his campaign to be leader of the Conservatives. Let's cross live to GB News' political editor, Christopher Hope. Christopher, did Robert Jenrick set the house on fire?
Well, he said, and welcome here to Newark. That's right. No, the house isn't on fire, but certainly out of a professional campaign launched by Robert Jenrick here in Jenrick country in Newark. I'll say there's 200 activists here. He's trying to show he's the leader of the people, of the members outside of London. And with me now is Esther McVey, of course, and she introduced Robert Jenrick in that void of the speech. Esther McVey.
Hello.
Why is Robert Jenrick the guy to lead this country after the next election?
Because I think he's got the capacity, the integrity. I think he's got the work ethic, and you know how relentless it is. And I also think he will be good at persuading the country and the members what we need. And that unifying figure, I think, for the right and the left, for traditionalists and liberals, all of those, I think he's the person.
In your remarks, you talked about not being polarising, not picking fights, and I wonder, were you referring to any other candidates in this race?
No, I think the words was, he wasn't provocative, he could persuade. And I just think at the moment in the countries, we've seen sort of tensions, you've seen difficulties, and actually what we need, again, was that unity. So you've got to be able to tackle really knotty problems, but you need to do it in a way that you bring people along and not spark conflict. And I was pointing that out, and I really think that is relevant at this moment in time.
Is he a right-winger or a left-winger?
To be fair, I think the key thing for me is traditional. You see, because I think what people are saying, they're trying to pin people down. Oh, and then you'll say far right or this. No, for me, it is the timeless conservative values we need to get back to. So I'd call him traditional, which is what I'd say I am.
In his speech there, he talked about the missed opportunities, the failures on immigration, low taxation. I mean, this is your chance to rebuild. He talked about a mountain to climb. I mean, it's like Everest, and you're in base camp right now, isn't it? Do you think you can reasonably beat Labour, your party, in 2029?
Oh, I absolutely think we can. And I tell you one thing, Labour's got off to a shocking start. And whether that was scrapping the fuel allowance for pensioners, for millions of pensioners, whether that was scrapping the social care reforms. I mean, there's so many things that they've done wrong, I'd say, in the first couple of weeks, and went against what they campaigned on at the general election. There's lots of people at the moment who are absolutely furious. So we Conservatives actually have to take the fight to Labour, the fight to reform, and win all those voters back.
Well, Labour say they've found a £20 billion black hole, Esther McVey, and they're dealing with it.
Oh, come on, give us a break. That isn't true. They know it isn't true. And most importantly, the public know it isn't true. Because they said about 50 times we won't raise taxes, and now they're going to. And what they're doing is giving things to their pet projects. So they're collapsing to their union paymasters, they're collapsing to other things, and they want to put the money, whether it's net zero, as I said, buckling to the paymasters. And that's where they're putting the money. It is all political decisions. It's not financial ones, and we all know that.
In the question and answer session, he was asked twice, would you back a workable Rwanda scheme? He said yes. Is that right?
Well, that's what he said. That's what he'd hoped to. I think he also said, look, that'll be 4 or however many years away. I think my key point, which Labour have never been able to answer, when people destroy their documentation, when they come over on the boats illegally, and Labour say we're going to send them back home, where is home? They've destroyed the document. So you do need a safe third country, and that's why now other countries are looking at Rwanda. Maybe it'll be Rwanda, maybe it'll be another country, but it needs to be a safe third country. Labour's let us down there again. again.
And just finally, you're a former cabinet minister under Rishi Sunak. You were known as a common sense minister. Do you think Keir Starmer's response to the troubles we've seen across the country, of course the violence is always condemned, but he's not going towards looking at why it's happening, why people feel disaffected, should he?
Yes, I think we do need to look at where that disaffections come from, and that goes back to my point about you've got to be able to persuade people, talk to people, have those difficult conversations without provocation, and that's what a true leader needs to do. But look, a bit like everybody said today, first and foremost, we've got to think about those people in Southport who have either lost their children or had them harmed in every which way. So
Esther McVey gives her opinion about the candidacy of Robert Jenrick, but there's a very interesting point towards the end of her interview where she talks about Rwanda, and she gives a very interesting adaptation of the Rwanda scheme, where she presents Rwanda as a place for sending failed asylum seekers, a third country, if they cannot be returned to their home, and indeed if their home cannot be accurately identified. This is quite a remarkable difference to the deterrent which was proposed and pushed by Suella Braverman. The deterrent, of course, is utterly wrong and unworkable. The idea of a third country for sending failed migrants is, of course, a very reasonable concept, and one that is being promoted by Giorgia Meloni in Albania, for example. There's a development of something there, and indeed we should be on board with that. But our relationship with Albania has been so queered by Suella Braverman. We've got a great deal of work to do to catch up and to repair the damage that her stupidity and her rhetoric has caused. But I am interested by the way Esther McVey and others have started to colour the memory of the Rwanda project. This is obviously the way that the new Conservative Party is going to present their Rwanda bid. And I think, by the way, I think it's the right thing to be doing. I still absolutely condemn the old Rwanda proposals, but the new Rwanda proposal, I would be behind. I think that's the right way. As for Robert Jenrick, if he can continue to massage the facts in such a way, if this is a demonstration of the way he's going to go, well, fine. You know, it's politics, isn't it? It's to present the facts in a way that is acceptable and to encourage action rather than simply rhetoric. I think I think there's a lot to be said for Jenrick. I detested what he did with the cartoons. He seems to regret that. I detested the original Rwanda plan. He seems to be modifying that. I think it's a positive all round. But of course, the Conservatives will be out of power for quite a while because of the stupidity of Suella Braverman and others.